Why is it you are the way that you are?
I hate so much about the way you choose to be.
Oh, no way. Oh my God. No way. Oh my God.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 123 of 1 million of the Serial Killers
I'll do
podcast.
that again without the...
Nope, that was part of it. Welcome, everybody, to episode 123 of 1 million of the Serial Killers podcast. We get very professional when there's no one else in the room, and that's how it is today.
That's how we practice.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a no guest show for you guys today. I know it's maybe not exactly what you want, but we got a couple stories. Got
Too
a couple
bad
things.
it's what you get.
That's what you get. We can't fall behind. That's the realistic thing. And we knew that you guys would want to see our faces. So I ask, how goes it? Hello, Greg.
Oh, I'm fine. I gotta like...
Jesus, that was loud.
Yeah, it was up there.
I got to say, you look extra handsome on the guest camera today.
It's that high definition.
Yeah, look at that. That's what Greg really looks like, y'all.
Holy shit, he looks like a person, not just a blob. No, I look like a blob. It's just a blob in high def now.
Yeah, that's the thing that's scary about Bigfoot. He's not out of focus. He is just fuzzy.
Yeah, that's even scarier to me. Somewhere there's a large out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside.
Good to be here, man. Good to have you here.
Yes, sir.
This wasn't one that we had to guest cancel on. This was a rare. Literally, we reached out
This was
to,
intentional.
I mean, sure, yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
It wasn't that we reached out to 27 people and couldn't book a pairing for this weekend. That never happens, right?
We need people to settle their personal
I don't know
drama.
that it actually ever has. Normally, it's like if on the few occasions that this has happened, it was because someone had to bail last minute or something
Yeah.
like that.
We need people to settle their personal drama so that we can book pairings.
We did have somebody this week, I believe, in the Discord talk about how they loved the drama between Paul and Lindsay back in the day over the vodka.
That was a good series. That was a good. That was a good fight.
Perhaps we do need somebody to come in and
Stir the pot.
start a little controversy.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Well, he's controversial, but for all the wrong reasons.
Bigfoot.
Like,
come
we
and,
need-
come
we
and
need-
stir the. We need to just like write a WWE
I was
script.
just gonna say we need like a good WWE like call out of like a video on Discord of somebody like.
Listen here, Bobby. You think you're good at the game, brother? Well, let me tell you something. You're never gonna be as good as me. Get out here and be challenged, brother.
This goes out to Bobby. I just want you to know you'll never be the co-host I am.
We didn't, Bobby. We didn't mean to rope you into that too hard, but here you are.
He said Bobby, and I thought that's something I could go with.
You did it to yourself. That's what I'm gonna say, Bobby. You got too involved with us. Forever famous. Infamous. Okay, Greg. I know you got a little article. I got an article. I've read it a few times. I'm gonna give you the. Listen, guys. We couldn't book guests, so we didn't want to use the good stuff. Like, let's be honest. Like,
It's all good stuff.
I shouldn't
but
say
what he's
that's.
saying
You're right.
is
You're
we're not
you are
gonna do.
right.
We didn't want to do a fully fleshed out episode.
Greg phrased it much better. I have an outline that's fucking ready to go, but what are we gonna do? I mean, I suppose.
He said, "Should I bring it for this episode?" And I said, "You should, but you should also save it."
Yeah, and we saved it. So we got a couple things for you guys. It'll probably be a little bit shorter than normal. We're sorry, but that's just the way it is.
God, I'm tired of having to apologize for length.
Yeah, we suck at stuff, man.
No, I'm just tired of having to apologize for length. Like, yeah, I know it's shorter than you're probably used to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, truth. That's how Greg and I met. So we
Those
both
meetings are supposed to be anonymous.
we both brought a couple stories. I think we're gonna, we haven't really like talked about plans for after this season with you guys, or really with each other. We've kind of just been going with the flow this season and letting things happen as they go. But I think we'll talk a little bit about kind of this relaunch and the future and what we might be getting into. So there's just a lot of changes that are coming. A lot of big changes for both Greg and I personally.
I see no changes. All I see are racist faces.
Damn, we're just doing a lot of POC today.
I mean,
but so
when you're the GOAT for a reason.
yeah. So we're not sure what the future will be like, but we're gonna you guys are almost gonna hear us talk it out a little bit on this episode.
So deal with it.
And Greg will edit out the real important stuff, or like the stuff where we overcommitted. But yeah, I mean, we used to do these a little more frequently because we had guests bail a little more frequently back in the day. So this is kind of one of those fun, like I said, shorter episodes where you're just going to get a little bit of Greg and I. But when it's like that, I feel like you guys probably get the most Jesse and the most Greg when it's just the two of us. And we've been doing it since I picked you up at 1 o'clock today. It's just been a lot of laughing and a lot of we had to run a few errands, and we take it as a challenge to keep
Lowe's, give us free stuff.
Yeah. we take it as a challenge to keep each other laughing and shit while we're out shopping.
It's important to stay
for
entertained.
New doorknobs. It is. It really is. So okay. The story I brought is obviously true crime in nature. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel because we're not doing the whole thing, but I will say.
So hold on. Let's play a game.
All right.
Let's play a game.
Do you want to play a game?
I want to try to guess what your story is about,
Okay.
and I will let you also try to guess what my story.
I think I told you what my story is about today. Okay, but fair.
Did I look like I was listening?
All right, that's also fair.
Because
that's also true.
I was gonna say it's very possible you told me, but I want to try to guess what your story is about.
Okay, how about this?
Okay.
How about we try to guess in 3 words what one another's story is about?
Okay. Let's do this. We'll guess about that, and then I'm gonna try and guess the twists and turns in your story as you go.
Okay.
And I'll let you do the same for mine.
Okay. You want my 3 words?
Yes.
I'm gonna use only 2. Well, it's 3 words, but like normally
one's hyphenated.
UFOs and government.
I mean,
it's pretty broad.
That's a fair guess, and that's a fair guess. My guess for you, the 3 words, I would say, unsolved murder case.
Those are 3 good words.
Thanks, man.
3 good words.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Then, huh?
All right. Kick it off.
So this is about the totally solved murder of Cassie Jo Stoddard. Oh, okay. So this one happened in September of 2006.
I feel awful for laughing when he's.
I know, and that's again. Kristen and I were talking about it because Kristen was on. I believe it'd be last week's episode to this episode.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, you guys know Kristen by now.
Yeah, 122.
Yep. So she was like, I had so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, knowing that we were totally talking about like fucked up killers. And I was like, yeah, but like that's the idea, right? Is it like the story is out there? It's been told. We are not the first people to tell any stories that we've told. Yeah. And I'm not saying, well, they told it, so we can. But we're just getting the information out. We're getting the story out, and we're trying to have fun here without disrespecting anybody.
No, I
here.
know. I just sometimes I feel like such a monster because I'm like, oh, I'm guessing that it's an unsolved murder case, and you're like, this is totally a solved case, and that made me laugh.
Yes,
but it's the solved murder.
It's the juxtaposition of what's taking place in this room, versus what's taking place in these stories, and it's not a fun comparison to make sometimes.
So, not a monster, just look like one.
I mean, we get that. If you look at our reviews, some people...
A lot of people think we're monsters.
Well, I can't fully disagree with the people that are like, hey, true crime and comedy shouldn't mix. And it's like, yeah, I get it, but there's a line that
There's exceptions to every rule.
Right, because I think there are lines that can be drawn.
The one who said that you can't make fun of true crime and all that, especially Ed Kemper, like, what makes him so heinous? Because we've talked about, like, people eating people, and we've talked about people wearing people.
He's a giant. First of all, I think that was one of the.
I mean, but still, like,
go back and listen to our Ed Kemper episode, and you'll remember what makes him so heinous.
yeah, I don't know if I was on that episode. I think
You were, because I think we did it later. We did Ed Kemper. I'm pretty sure with the Bumblebutt podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so again, case of Cassie Lee Stoddard. We're gonna go off on tangents like that. That's what Greg and I do when we get together and we don't have a real direct like pipeline
We don't have a
of
goal.
things we're gonna do. Yeah, like we didn't even really intro the show. Serialchillerspod.com for everything, guys. That's it. This one's a lot less business, a lot more. There you go. Bing bang boom. We'll give you a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Screen cap it.
you thought it was going to be him, but it's me.
Oh shit. This took place in September of 2006, specifically the 22nd. Cassie Jo Stoddard was house sitting for her aunt and uncle Allison and Frank Contreras in Whispering Cliffs Drive in Bannock County, Idaho. Say Whispering Eye.
Hold on. You think there's any cliffs in Idaho?
No, certainly don't. I imagine
I'm
it's
pretty
like
sure you can see from like Wyoming to Texas.
it's like when you live in Creekside Apartments and they put like a tiny little rock creek bed in the middle. They're like, yeah, that's totally the creek.
It's got like a 4 gallon per minute pump that's running it.
It's Creekside, right? Like, come on. Like, no, I imagine that's what it's like. It's like, oh, there's some hills in the front that the sign is on. Those are the Whispering Cliffs.
I just, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the Contreras family are out of town. They hire Cassie, her niece, their niece, teenager. I want to believe Cassie is 16 at the time.
Okay. Old enough to be responsible.
Starting to like, get into that. Like, yeah, you could stay at our house alone. We
Yeah.
trust you enough for that.
Shit, dude, I was in my 20s before somebody asked me to do that.
And there was 3 cats and 2 dogs, so it wasn't just watching a house; it was taking care of some
Huge
pets too. Yeah,
responsibility.
it truly is. Aunt and uncle are cool with her having a couple friends over. No ragers. So her boyfriend and a couple of his friends come over. Her boyfriend's name is Matt Beckham. He came at 6 p.m. and a little bit. 2 of his friends and her friends, Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk. It's Adamcik. Adamczyk. It was pronounced like 4 different ways because I watched some news stories about it, and then I watched like one like mini doc. All 4 people pronounced it differently. It's like Adam Cik. So boyfriend gets there, hanging out. Also, we were teenagers. We know what it's like. Hey, I'm getting there at 6. You guys get there at 8, okay? So Tori and Brian are both...
We're doing the same thing.
Yeah. We're age 16. They came over to hang out and watch a movie. Cassie Jo would give them a tour of the house, including the basement. Like, fuck, why not? Like, look at this big-ass house I'm house sitting. I'm responsible for all this.
It's got a cool, not creepy basement. Have you guys ever seen a scary movie? No? Come on down here.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be right back. The 4 teens went to the living room to watch Kill Bill after the tour, but Adamczyk and Draper ended up leaving before the film ended. They're like, dude, we just want to go see a movie at the movie theater. Like, this is kind of boring being here. Like, we're going to dip. And, of course... Or the boyfriend was like, hey, at 8:45, I need you fuckers to get the fuck out.
Yo, is that your phone going off? It sounds important. You should probably take that outside.
Yeah. So Matt Beckham stays behind with Cassie Jo. Stoddard was unaware that before the boys left, one of them had gone down to the basement and propped a door open.
Ooh.
Intrigue. So the boys... The boys don't leave that open door open for long. They leave and like immediately enter the basement with some supplies that they've prepared.
Well, I don't like that.
Right. It says that they would leave and
Teenage
quickly
boys
return.
don't need supplies for anything.
No, they don't. It's like you go into a sleepover. What are you gonna do? It's like I'm gonna not brush my teeth for 2 days, sleep on the ground, and wear the same fucking socks, motherfucker. What do you think I'm gonna do?
Get these socks off with a blowtorch when you get home.
Yes. So they return to the neighborhood. They're going to stand up on their own, and not for a weird reason. They go down. They park down the street and get out of the car. Put on costumes consisting of dark clothing and ski masks, gloves, and white painted masks. Sorry, it was black, gloves, and white painted masks. So, yeah. The boys would go through the basement door that they propped open and started making loud noises in the basement to try to get them to come down. So when you were talking scary movie, like, hey, you don't know what genre of movie you're in. Just assume horror all the time, I feel like. And don't go down into your basement when loud noises are taking place.
Well, see, I feel like that's not fair, though. That's your basement. You should be the one who has to go down there.
It's true. It's true. But nobody was going down there. Like these two kids are smart enough to not do that. So they're in the basement, and in the basement they found the circuit breaker. So they're like, we'll do this. We'll flip the power off. And so their idea was that we'll flip it off and someone will come down and they'll click it back on. They're going to realize what happened.
Nope. I would sit up in a puddle of piss at the top of the stairs.
So
whoever's down there needs to get out.
So when they didn't come back downstairs, the boys flipped on a couple more, of the breakers. Like, oh, look, if Parsley came back on, I'm probably going to need to come down and flip these. Still nothing. Cassie Joe became like really iffy on the situation because it was like, why did half of them come back on?
Because that's terrifying.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Matt noticed that one of the dogs kept staring down the basement stairs.
Even scarier.
That your pets are very in tune with these things, you guys. If your dog is staring at a door, or maybe just like either one, check it out if you're feeling you got a little brave going in you.
Let that door know that you have a gun.
Yeah. So the dog keeps staring down the stairs. Yes, that is fucking terrifying.
That's all bad. Nobody's ever been like, hey, my dog stared down the stairs, and when I got down there, it was a bunch of fucking doubloons. Like,
of all of the currency, it could have been.
I'm having deja vu big time right now.
Yeah?
Right. As soon as the dog staring down the stairs in doubloons.
Dang, I'm having fucking Vuja Day, and I have no idea where I'm at.
I'm freaking out a little.
Are you?
This is a long deja vu.
Whoa.
I'm gonna leave it in here, but
did I talk about Vuja Day in your deja vu?
All this is consistent, and it's weird now. It's not meant to last this long.
So besides staring down the stairs, the dog would also bark and growl. So it wasn't just like, hey, what the fuck was that? It was like, hey, I don't fucking like that. Whatever's down there.
Chocolate doubloons, can't spend those.
I'm not a fan. I can't even eat them. So seeing that Cassie Joe felt really scared, Matt was like, well, I'm going to see if my mom will let me stay the night. Yeah, right, dude. Come on, I've tried this one too. The mom was like, no, I don't think so. But she can come stay the night at our house. That's fine with me. At least there's a parent involved in that situation.
Yeah, but that seems to defeat the point of house sitting.
Well, and that's why Cassie Joe Stoddard was like, nah, I'm going to stay. Like, I got a couple dogs to take care of. Part of the power's on. I'm sure the rest will come on later. And so Matt's like, well, I'll hang out as long as I can. My mom's coming to get me at, 10:30. So he's not allowed to stay. His mom offers, she declines. She wants to stay and be the responsible adult. Like we were talking about that. When you're 16, you're proven. Like, hey, you can trust me with this again. Even the power went out, and I fucking stayed.
I just ate that. I stood at the top of the stairs and yelled, I have a gun. And my dog said, there's doubloons down there.
At approximately 10:30 p.m., Matt's mom would come pick him up. So Cassie Joe's at the house. Matt calls, what are their first names? Because I don't want to call him Adamczyk and Draper. I forget.
Sounds like a...
Calls Brian and Tori.
Sounds like a mid-tier law firm.
Yeah. Call Adamczyk and Draper.
Did you drink expired milk of your own accord? Call Adamczyk and Draper.
So Brian and Tori... he calls Brian and Tori and he asks them where they're at. Because he wants to meet up with them. He's like, all right, well, I'm out of here. And my mom says I can't stay here anymore, but I'm going to go hang out with the homies. So Beckham said he could barely hear Adamczyk, who was whispering on the phone, and assumed that the boys were already in a movie theater. So he answered it in the movies and fuck it, dude. They're already there. I'm not going to bug them. So Matt just went home. He's not allowed.
As you do.
Yeah. So Cassie's at the house. From the basement, Tori and Adam would come. It's not Tori and Adam. It's Tori and Brian. Fuck them anyway. Who cares? Asshole 1 and asshole 2 heard Matt leave, and then they turned the lights completely out again. So the circuit, they flipped it at the circuit, and they just waited, hoping that Cassie Joe would come down the stairs. She didn't. Why would she go down now that she's alone after
Right.
her boyfriend has left?
No, I
Like,
know that makes total
It's
sense.
just like a little bit of these boys were dumb as hell.
Now is when you do the Oscar Pistorius.
Okay, I'm with you now.
The second time the lights go out.
Yeah. So the boys decided that they were just going to go upstairs.
Yes, they got impatient.
Yeah, so Draper was armed with a
Teenage
dagger.
boys are known for their patience.
Well, they'd already been downstairs for a couple hours waiting for them to come into the basement. So I would say that
You
they
sure
were
this is gonna work? Trust me, it's gonna work.
Yeah. So Draper was armed with a dagger type weapon, and Adamczyk had a hunting knife. The hunting knife alone probably would have been enough. I don't know if you needed the dagger type weapon. I picture mall ninja shit. When you say dagger type weapon, you went into like that weird store that
I
sells
pictured size,
which would
like what Raphael from the
No,
Ninja
I know
Turtles-
exactly what a sai
for
is.
people who don't.
Oh, okay, yeah, true.
The little dagger things
Like
that
a 3-prong, 2 short ones, and a
yeah. But those are defensive weapons.
They are, and if you were going to buy one in a small town Idaho, I would bet that it is at some sort of mall ninja store.
Yeah.
If you guys are unfamiliar with mall ninjas, you've all seen this store where it sells like a little bit of anime
Button-down,
stuff,
short sleeve button down shirts with flames,
a little bit of that, and then there's just like a bunch of replica swords on the wall.
and
That's-
like the
that's Mall
little
Ninja.
the little triangle things. They look like fidget spinners, but blades come out of them. And
I will say, there's nothing wrong with collecting this stuff. There is something wrong with getting this stuff and like pretending that you're like
what else would you do with it?
it's.
If I have a sword, I'm swinging it.
Get a real sword then.
Those are expensive.
Yeah, well, okay.
Just saying, decorative swords still hurt.
I'll just go to Home Depot and buy a rebar then. Like if that's what you're trying to do, it seems a little like cheaper. Anyway, the weapons had been purchased at a pawn shop earlier that week. So the boys had got their weapons from a pawn shop.
Okay.
Earlier that week, they went to a pawn shop and picked out a couple stabby boys. It sounds like what happened. Pawn shops are kind of like those gray areas where, like, if you maybe went to the sporting goods store, they'd be like, hey, I'm not selling you a hunting knife, you little fuck. But you go to, like, a little half shady pawn shop, the guy's like, yeah, what the fuck do you want? You know, and
Let's see. I'll take that vintage cash register, a gumball machine, 2 hunting knives, and that wedding dress.
you know what? Put back all the stuff. I'll just take the hunting knives.
That'll be $35. Ooh, all I have is 9.
Can I get 1 hunting knife and 1 dagger type weapon?
Do you have enough tickets?
You hear that, Tori? You're using the dagger type weapon.
I paid.
So Draper opened and slammed a closet door at the top of the stairs to scare Stoddard, who was lying on the couch in the living room.
I bet it worked.
She sat up. They essentially ran in and attacked her and stabbed her approximately 30 times, 12 of which were potentially fatal, according to the
Each
autopsy.
or total?
Total of 30. 12, so almost half of the stabs.
Yeah.
The coroner said any
Any
one of
one of them
these
could have been
12 could have been a
the
fatal
stab.
stab wound. There
That's-
were 12.
So senseless.
Yeah. During the investigation of the murder, police found that Draper and Adamczyk had recorded their plan to murder Stoddard in advance in a videotape while they were at school, and the footage was shown at their trials.
Videotaping this crime spree was the best idea we ever had.
So this is where I'm going to kind of go off on a little bit of a thing because I've seen this video. I've seen them talking about it, and I've seen them planning it, and I've seen the video because they filmed themselves after it. They're like in a car driving away, and they look just... They got like 1,000-yard stares.
For
but they're
what
like,
though? Why are they filming it?
I don't
like
know.
what was it like in case we forget, or is this like we're gonna be famous, here's our manifesto?
I think it's
or
more
is it
like
video
a
Dear
memory-
Diary. Today I decided to like
I don't know, because they didn't film the murder.
right.
Because if that was the case, it would be like, oh, a memory's great, but having film of it, you know.
Right.
But they just film. I don't know. I really don't know. 2006, though, we're talking about like that's YouTube's first year. That's like the time where like getting a home video camera isn't like something your dad has and we only take it on vacation. It's like we're getting a little more
You're
like
still rocking those big boxy like
Yeah,
with
you
screen
can-
that articulates. And,
I mean, 2006, we're getting close to like
Oh no, they had
You
those
can get like
vertical.
Sony Cyber Shots, and like we're
Yeah.
getting close to like the smaller handheld digital cameras that can also do video.
Yeah,
where you're not like
we're
sliding a floppy disk into. We're
like,
definitely
what,
getting to a place where
2-3 years off of like the first iPhone and like the high quality Blackberries and stuff.
right. So, but we're getting in a place where like it's accessible now. You can
Yeah.
keep it in your backpack and you can film you and your friends at school. I wish there were more, like, I guess, more reasons, like more things to talk about why these two boys might have done this. They seem like pretty normal. Like, this is the classic. Hey, they seem like pretty
They're
normal
just
kids.
pricks.
Yeah, I mean, think about Dylan and
Yeah.
like these. They weren't even like.
The Columbine kids.
Don't even don't be fooled by the narrative that those two kids were bullied.
No, they,
They
were
were-
bullies.
They were bullies. They were popular kids. They were honestly,
pricks.
A really good source for those assholes is the last podcast series on them.
Mhm.
They really dove in deep with the Columbine guys. And those guys were such fuck. And I mean, everybody who does anything like that is such a fucking asshole prick piece of shit.
What was it? The basement tapes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's kind of, and I think we talk a little bit about.
but like when you watch them, they're just so like full of themselves. They're so pompous. They think they're doing something so cool and like groundbreaking, and like nobody's ever been an asshole before.
The only cool thing they did was the last time each of them pulled a trigger.
Yeah,
It's
and
literally the only thing cool.
And it's just like you think you're doing something that nobody's ever done before, but like plenty of people have been an asshole.
The sad part is that they've kind of set
A standard.
a standard, a precedent. Okay, so the footage before and after, it was shown at their trials,
Good.
as it should be.
Were they tried as adults?
They were not. Draper and Adamczyk were arrested on September 27th, 2006 and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. So, I mean, like, they were talking about it. In one of the videos, if I'm not mistaken, and part of me feels like maybe I watched, like, a YouTube thing where they, like, fictionalize this. If I'm not mistaken, some of the pre-stuff has, like, them filming her. Like, in the library, they're talking, and then, like, she's also in the library, and they, like... Yeah.
No
yeah.
need for that.
Yeah, it's fucking creepy, man. Again, take that with a grain of salt
Yeah.
because like I feel like I've seen that, but weird, real YouTube stuff is out there, and don't be fooled by it, guys. So during the interrogations, each teen blamed the other. Draper claimed that he was in the same room with Adamczyk when Stoddard was killed, but denied doing any of the stabbing. Then later admitted to stabbing her under alleged commands from Adamczyk. So like he's the leader. Tori's the leader. I just did what he said. Yeah, I stabbed her, but it's because I was scared of him. You know, there's this classic team narrative. But he would lead investigators to Black Rock Canyon, where the teens had disposed of clothing, masks, and weapons they had used for the murder.
So he flipped. So not only is he a prick and a murderer, he's also a snitch.
Yeah. So at the trial, the prosecution will reveal that Draper had said that he was inspired by Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold.
Oh, look at that.
So we all know.
It also sounds a bit like the original Scream.
Later, Adamczyk was said to have been inspired by the Scream horror film franchise.
Fucking nerds. You fucking nerds.
Hey, you're doing a pretty good job of guessing where this is going. Draper was convicted on April 17th, 2007. Adamczyk was convicted on June 8th, 2007, and on August 21st, 2007. Based on being convicted of first-degree murder, each received a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and 30 years to life for being convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. So they got a life sentence, no parole, plus a 30-year sentence for the conspiracy to commit.
So that's like
first-degree murder.
55 years.
Because
life is like 25.
Is it?
Something like it's not long, but
No possibility of parole.
Right, which means they have to serve the whole sentence. They don't get to get out early for good behavior or anything.
Plus, they're okay. Well, yes. Adamczyk and Draper are both serving their time in Idaho State Correctional Institution, located in the unincorporated Ada County, Idaho, near Kuna. In November of 2019, Adam Schick's sentence was upheld after appeal was denied by an Idaho state. Okay, here's some stuff about the appeals. The convicted men's attorneys filed separate appeals in the Idaho Supreme Court in September of 2010 for Adam Schick and April of 2011 for Draper. Draper was seeking to have his conviction vacated or to be given a limited life sentence that would allow his release on parole if approved after 30 years.
They're from Cornell University. One life sentence imposes an obligation on a defendant to serve 15 to 25 years in prison until the eligibility of parole. The sentence depends on the gravity of the crime and on the jurisdiction in which the defendant is tried. Parole is usually granted to individuals who have displayed good behavior. So, no parole means you have to serve the whole thing. You got to eat the
But
whole
it's only
the whole
25
piece.
years.
But yeah, it's up to 25 years.
Interesting. So the first appeal for both Adam Schick and Draper was denied in a 3-2 decision. So that's probably closer than a lot of people would even want it to be.
I probably wouldn't have scored it like that.
The High Court vacated Draper's conviction on conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, saying that the jurors were given erroneous instructions on that charge, but they affirmed his conviction for first-degree murder and life without parole.
Erroneous
On all counts. I do think that's interesting, though, that they got rid of... I mean, the conspiracy seems like it was an equally weighty charge.
Yeah, well, it carried the
30 years.
Yeah, hefty sentence, and so they threw out the conspiracy.
They vacated the conspiracy, but upheld the first-degree murder and life sentence.
So I wonder if it was part of like a plea deal. Do you think they vacate? We'll get rid of the conspiracy because you said you were forced,
and you showed us where the clothes were and where the masks were.
So we'll get rid of the conspiracy.
But it doesn't say that it was in a plea deal. It just because this isn't an appeal. Initially, he was charged with this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he made he made a deal. Or maybe not a plea deal, but he was like, okay, I'll eat the murder charge because we fucked up.
Yeah.
But he made me do it, so it's not a conspiracy. I was coerced.
I feel like that would happen before the first trial. Personally, I think that would be like,
if that's the appeal though, like if that's what they have the juice for now, he's like, hey, look, I can prove it, or whatever. Now in the appeal process, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's the only thing I could see where they got rid of something like that, where there's like clear-cut evidence where you're like, did you have to wave at the security camera when you robbed the store?
Right.
Like that's why
I like doing European crimes, because when it comes to the court system stuff, I'm like, I don't know anything about European courts. But then we do U.S. stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about U.S. courts really either. I'm usually guessing pretty hard. So
the only thing I know about U.S. courts is the more money you have, the easier it is to get away with stuff.
I've also heard that. In July of 2015, Adam Schick gained a hearing for post-conviction relief with State 6th District Magistrate Judge Mitchell W. Brown. What a fucking title. Yes, I am the State 6th District Magistrate, Mitchell Brown.
Mitchell W. Brown.
He claimed the testimony from character witnesses could have changed the outcome of the sentencing, but that his former attorney, against his parents' wishes, chose not to call upon these men. So he was saying, like, hey, bring up people who will say I wasn't such a fucking asshole, not just people who will say I didn't murder this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could have changed the outcome if you had let the jury know my character a little bit.
Which is, I mean, true to a certain extent, but at the same time, they're not judging you on your character. They're judging you on whether or not you committed this crime.
Possibly. What's that law we talked about, or your past crimes being allowed to... I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. Adam Schick said that his attorney believed the prosecution would have submitted even more damaging evidence if they had called character witnesses, essentially like in retaliation. Like they had more evidence.
They said, we know you're an asshole. We're not going to call people to make them prove you're an asshole.
In March 2016, Judge Brown denied his request for post-conviction relief, and Adam Schick appealed Judge Brown's decision for the Idaho Supreme Court, which on December 26, 2017, rejected Adam Schick's appeal for post-conviction relief and upheld the district court decision. So he took it as high as it could go, trying to get this post-conviction relief, and they were like,
no.
I say nay. Kill him. Following the Idaho Supreme Court's decision, Adam Schick filed a federal writ of habeas corpus in January of 2018, in which he argued that the court denied his first appeal based on a theory that was not presented to the jury. Adam Schick also argued that he should be entitled to a new sentencing hearing in the light of Miller and Montgomery decisions. This is a whole thing about mandatory life sentences. So you all can look into that if you like.
Were they like you can't give mandatory life sentences, basically.
Well, they were minors when they were handed out.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot
Yeah, you can't serve minors with the same.
with a life sentence,
Right.
essentially. Like,
Okay,
whether
that-
they're tried as adults or
Yeah,
whether they're, like if
that makes
first
sense.
degree, an adult crime, but
That's kind of why, like at the beginning, I was like, "Are they tried as adults?" Because if they are, that's like it's a slam dunk thing. But when you're a minor, after you turn a certain age, your shit gets
and
expunged.
they were 16 when they committed the crime. So.
Yeah. So like, what is it when you turn 19 or 20? Your record gets expunged from all your minor crimes, and
Not felonies. I don't believe you got to go through some shit to get your felonies expunged. Like I had a couple misdemeanors in my early teenage years, which were, yes, indeed, expunged. When I turned 18, I went and had them expunged. Very easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't think felonies are the same, and I don't know that I'm
Yeah.
right about that either.
I
If you're
don't
using
know.
the show for research,
don't.
But I believe felonies hang with you. Like that's kind of a thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
As well he should.
So,
Depending on what
people make mistakes, people deserve second chances. If you kill somebody, it's my personal opinion, you're irredeemable.
Well, depending on the circumstances.
A vehicular man. If you
Yeah,
if
you
you
want
do
to
a
draw
murder,
some lines in the sand right
if
now?
if you do a murder that has the word degree in
If you do a murder, because like if you kill somebody out of self-defense, that's not a murder. If you kill somebody on accident, that's not a
saying
murder.
kill someone was a poor term.
Yeah, if you
If you have been
if
a
you do a
subject
murder
of a
crime-
serial chillers episode, you can just go ahead and fuck right off. In July of 2015, Adam Schick is currently appealing Judge Dale's decision in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, with oral arguments taking place on February of 2022. And Judge Bybee, Morgan Kristen, and James Selna presiding on March 24th, 2022. They would again upheld the sentence in an unpublished decision.
So it's like a group of judges this time.
Yeah, because he's in like the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Do they do like the high-speed hats like in Futurama, where they?
Yes, they do. Yep.
It's all DSL.
Yep. That's how it happens. They just connect, and that's how they know. So there is a civil suit also filed by the Stoddart family in 2010. The Stoddart family filed a civil lawsuit against the Idaho School District, claiming that school authorities were negligent and should have known that Draper and Adam Schick posed threats to others. Both the civil court and the Idaho Supreme Court dismissed the case, saying the actions of the killers were not foreseeable.
Yeah, I mean, so nothing ever happens until it happens. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. This isn't fucking.
there's no way you can like look at somebody and be like, well, I mean, you can. You can look at somebody and be like, they're gonna kill somebody. They're gonna eat somebody's face.
You can look at somebody and say, statistically, this person is likelier to kill somebody and eat someone's face. You can't say that someone is going to do it.
Right.
This is a Minority Report.
I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes you can look at there's certain people like I'm gonna cut this out, but I have a cousin.
There's a whole part here about the U.S. Supreme Court and mandatory life sentences. A couple paragraphs, I'll give it to you. This is the Miller versus Alabama. United States Supreme Court ruled that mandatory sentences of life without the possibility of parole are unconstitutional for juvenile offenders, even in cases of murder, ruling that the youth of the convict has to be considered.
Okay, so they're like, oh, because he's young and
You can't say it's life without parole. You can't do it because he's a kid.
Right.
In 2016, the Supreme Court ruled in Montgomery versus Louisiana that this doctrine had to be applied to cases retroactively and directed a review of all such cases, potentially 12 to 1,500 nationwide. Given juveniles' brain immaturity, and the Supreme Court ruled that there had to be an opportunity to consider mitigating factors as well as later review the sentences of such inmates, with possible relief for persons who had reformed. It said that, quote, children who commit even heinous crimes are capable of change, end quote. Draper and Adam Schick are among the cases that the state's courts will review under this ruling. Some 1,100 cases are found in the state of Pennsylvania, Louisiana, and Michigan, where the state courts had ruled the Miller v. Alabama decision was not retroactive. So there are some states.
So some states were like, that
we're not
doesn't
fucking
work
going
here.
backwards, buddy. On October 16th of 2019, the Supreme Court held oral arguments in Mathena versus Malvo, another juvenile life without parole case that would have had an effect on Adam Schick and Draper sentences. The Supreme Court dismissed the Malvo case, but heard oral arguments in Jones versus Mississippi, another case relating to juvenile life without parole sentences. On November 3rd of 2020, That was a juvenile life without sentences. That was on November 3rd of 2020. On April 22nd of 2021, the Supreme Court ruled in Jones that finding a permanent incorrigibility isn't required when sentencing a juvenile. So you can't. Still, everything has been upheld as far as April 22nd of 2021. A juvenile cannot be handed a life sentence without parole. They can get a life sentence,
Right.
but they have to have the opportunity for parole after, whatever it is, X
Right.
amount of years.
Okay.
So that's the sad story, very solved, of Casey Joe Stoddard.
That is fucked up, and like I said, it sounds like Scream, where like in Scream, Billy and Stu were just pricks. Like they were just assholes for the sake of being assholes.
Well, didn't Sydney's mom fuck Billy's dad?
You're not responsible for the actions of your parents.
I'm not saying that she deserved it for that, but I'm
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't pick who your parents are. You're not responsible for the actions of your parents unless you're like, hey, mom, this guy Billy, his dad's a total dilf. Like in that case,
do you know she didn't?
because
I'm kidding.
it wasn't established.
I'm kidding.
But I
No,
mean,
I get it.
they just seem like pricks for pricks' sake,
And
and
these guys,
they seem like pricks for pricks' sake, well aware of what they were doing.
and it happened 10 years after the movie came out.
So
that's why they
I will
believe
say,
that
like,
they were inspired by.
when you're that age, when you're like 13 to 17, 18, there's like a sense
It's
of like
20. It just
There's
at
a-
18 you become an adult.
there's a sense of like object impermanence. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you draw on your shoes. It doesn't matter how much the shoes cost. You're drawing on your shoes.
It's the same idea. Like
You're writing on desks in school. There's a disregard for everything that's not you personally, directly, now, in the moment.
and it's the same idea. Like if you ever take a child development course, they teach you that that object impermanence is like if you had a 5-year-old and he said, "I'll give you a quarter right now," or "I'll give you $100 in 10 minutes," like 90% of those kids are going to be like, "Give me that motherfucking quarter right now."
Right.
Sorry. So that was just.
But it seems like it's a sense of like object impermanence, like not understanding the gravity of the situation. Like I remember my parents had this like, and I'm not trying to equate murder to
yeah.
what I'm talking about, but it feels like the same line of thinking. just
Analogies
escalated.
must be made.
Yeah, like my parents had these like bar stools that had like a vinyl top on them, and stabbing those vinyl tops with stuff was so satisfying. So satisfying.
Yeah.
Not thinking that they're gonna split and like crease like that, and then every time you
Yeah.
sit down, it's gonna slice the back of your legs. And
Yeah.
Not thinking about anything like that. Just thinking about the
How
satisfaction.
fun the pop and the air coming out.
Yeah,
and-
like I get heroin.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a sense of like object impermanence. It's not mine. I don't care. All I'm concerned about is the satisfaction of doing this. And so I get it. Like as far as not understanding the gravity and the long-term repercussions for something, and I understand how as an adult you understand that more than you do as a teenager, but also I'm not talking about a human life. I'm talking about a vinyl bar stool
Right.
that was kind of ugly if I think about it.
And it was probably like, man, that's going to cost us $100 to fix or replace.
Right.
You
It's
know,
not.
also like
It's not.
a human
It's not
life.
somebody's child.
Yeah. Well, you brought us a little article today too, buddy. So
Do you want to go to break or no?
yeah, fuck it. We can do a break. Yeah. Come back, or we'll kill you.
Bing bang boom. Now
Well-
it's in there.
We'll do it too.
You watch. Welcome back. If you can see this or hear this, I'm not gonna kill you.
God, that was sexy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I have a story. Well, it's not a story. It's an article. I got it from the internet.
So I was on a cruise ship once, right?
Lady fell overboard. It was a whole thing.
Wait, is that your story?
It doesn't matter. No, this comes from the militarytimes.com. It's something I've seen recently, a little bit of, and I am intrigued because the news is like 3 days old now.
Really quickly, I can't remember if we recorded when we guessed in 3 words what each other's subjects were, but you said for mine.
I said unsolved murder case.
which is pretty close.
It was wrong.
It's a murder case.
It's a murder case. So I got a 66%.
And I said UFOs and government.
yeah.
Okay.
And you are correct on all counts
Cool,
because
cool.
A few days ago there was a news report that a Pentagon official who's like in charge of UFO stuff said that there's potentially a mothership in our solar system releasing smaller UFOs to like check out planets.
Like legit Independence Day.
A little bit, yeah. And that's kind of what. So this is an article from the Military Times talking about that.
Let's go.
So it's from the Military Times observation post. It says Pentagon UFO chief says alien mothership in our solar system possible. There is a possibility that extraterrestrial motherships and smaller probes may be visiting planets in our solar system. The head of the Pentagon Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Research Office noted in a report draft shared Tuesday. So that was just 4 days ago.
It's terrifying.
An artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth, an operational construct not too dissimilar from NASA missions. Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, wrote in a research report co-authored by Abraham Loeb, chairman of Harvard University's astronomy department. So this is from like a NASA parallel and Harvard.
Yeah, this isn't
It's not me.
said on George Norrie's pod.
Yeah, it's not me saying this.
It's fucking scary because I picked up on what you were saying. Who was saying these things initially, and was like, I don't like that. Real people are disseminating this information.
I fucking love it.
I mean,
and
part of me does.
I'll tell you more about what I think.
Part of me is it like, are they just randomly searching solar systems and planets? Or were they like, somewhere from this solar system, a radio signal came out?
I mean,
so we're checking out all the what planet are they at? Are they starting at the back and working towards the middle? Like,
so
when's it gonna be our turn?
There's a lot to be said for the ability to travel to our solar system.
Yes.
Because the closest solar system to ours is like 4.5 light years away. So you still have to go hundreds of thousands of miles. But that being said, like
hundreds of millions of miles?
I mean, technically both.
Technically hundreds of thousands too. You have to go at least 10 miles.
I mean, you'll have to go over 50 miles to get to.
All right. Fair.
But it's more than a mile away. It's a long ways.
I just hit my head pretty hard on the shelf.
You okay? You want a nap? What, you're supposed to nap a concussion?
Yeah, just leave the wound open and let me sleep it off.
We'll pack it with maggots.
Oh God, I did hit it pretty hard.
Need a sec?
Well, you made me laugh, and I said, "I'm a very animated human, Greg. There's nothing I can do to help that."
I wish I'd gotten that on camera. Because that's how the show would open.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's
You're
just
like, I don't need math anyway.
Listen, it doesn't feel great.
What are you saying? 10 miles to Mars?
Yeah, whatever. What was that movie with Adam or Andy Samberg where he's like a pop star? And they're like, something came up and he's like, 90 seconds? You can get to Mars 3 times. And what's his name? Tim Robbins was his like manager, and he's like, I've told you before, 30 Seconds to Mars is a band name. It is not a fact.
That's funny.
All right, sorry.
So like they're talking about, them moving through the solar system looking for life, but we've talked about Valiant Thor and how he's from Venus.
I mean, I don't want to meet him or anything, but I do like him.
You don't want to meet like a 7-foot Swedish guy?
No, his skin suit creeps me out.
It's not a suit of skin. It's just like a skin tight suit.
Creeps me out.
It's like
creeps me out.
All right. I think it'd be cool. I'd be like, can I stab you? Like, can we shoot you? Can we set you on fire?
Hey, man. It's to each their own. I'm not gonna yuck your yum. You know what I'm saying?
This is science, baby. Like,
and you know what? You know what's great about our 2 different responses?
What's that?
You'll get all the data and bring it back to me, And I don't have to meet Valiant Thor.
He's like, yeah, you can do all that stuff. You just can't tell Jesse.
You know what? Worth. Don't care.
Because I got to have fun. But no, like, he's from Venus. We talked about how the CIA astral projected to Mars 1 million years ago and saw, like, the dying ends of a civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like, what was that Rick and Morty episode where they were, like, looking at the dinosaurs across all the different planets and, like, how they just kind of traveled throughout the universe? Could be something like that, where they're just, like, looking.
I like that. That's where we're gonna base our theories now.
Well, I mean,
Rick and Morty episode.
I mean, in the sense of
Being highly intelligent to understand what's happening in that television program.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you identify with the alcoholic narcissist on the show, then maybe we need to have a talk.
Yeah.
No, like I just mean like in the sense.
Should we do it now? Or?
Yeah. The sense of like going throughout the universe and finding the relics of past civilizations. So like maybe seeing that the people on Venus didn't last, or the people on Mars didn't last, and so there's these relics of civilization. They're finding pyramids. They're finding things like that that may have indicated intelligent life, and that's what they're looking for. And then they're gonna shit a brick when they get to Earth.
Yeah.
If they're not here already, or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm not even 2 paragraphs in.
Let me get more into this.
Kirkpatrick, who was appointed as the director of the AARO when it was founded in July 2022, previously served as the chief scientist of the Defense Intelligence Agency's Missile and Space Intelligence Center. The AARO was established to investigate unidentified objects, quote, objects of interest, end quote, around military installations, according to a Pentagon press release. We've talked about that stuff before.
Objects of interest?
Like, I've talked about the nuke that, like, shoots up and then there's like a UFO, or like it was a test rocket and it shoots up and the little UFO shows up and like hits it with a beam of light and then the thing just goes and falls out of the sky and the thing just zips off. Yeah, like they got a whole office for that shit now because they're like, it's happening too much.
We're going to need to put together just a whole squadron for that, I believe.
Yeah, we're going to need some guys
Yeah,
to look into this.
Build an office. Might as well just... You want an acronym or...
No, we'll just take some initials. So Loeb, on the other hand, gained notoriety when he proposed our solar system had been traversed by its first extrasolar visitor in October of 2017. At that time, the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii detected an object moving at a speed that caused some scientists to suggest that it originated outside our solar system. The object's orbit also hinted at other forces besides the sun's gravitational pull influencing its movement. So the sun had...
Okay, so I was going to say, but there's like a lot of things that fly through our solar system that originate from outside our solar system, but they are going to be affected by...
Well, it'll
sun,
be obvious
comets
that
and-
they're being drawn towards the sun and subject to gravitational pull from other planets. They'll deviate from a straight line. If something's moving through at a straight line, it's something other than the sun that's affecting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, especially if it's like really cooking.
I love learning about stuff I don't understand.
And they'll be like, if that thing's really cooking, that's not the sun that's dragging it in. That
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
moving, and we don't know why.
It's moving on its own accord, and it's... we don't know what it
As
is.
if piloted intelligently.
Yay!
Scientists dubbed the object... See, now I feel like I may have overstepped with trying to pronounce some of this stuff.
This is an upstate New York name.
No, it's Hawaiian.
Ooh.
Aomawa Mawa.
All right.
Oumua.
Yeah.
Aomawa.
I like where you're at.
The Hawaiian term for scout, which Kirkpatrick and Loeb offer in their research paper as an example of possible mothership with probe capabilities.
You're for sure getting called a Howley by the time this is over.
So with proper design, these tiny probes would reach the Earth or other solar system planets for exploration as the parent craft passes by within a fraction of the Earth-Sun separation, just like Oumuamua did. The authors explained astronomers would not be able to notice the spray of many probes because they do not reflect enough sunlight for existing survey telescopes to notice them.
So they're saying like, they could be putting out a lot more of these probes than we believe.
It sounds like they're talking more of... because they call them mini probes, it sounds like they're talking about drones. Like, it may not even necessarily be a piloted craft, just something where they're like, as they're passing the straight line through our solar system and planets are revolving around it, they're just like, go, psh, and then these things go collect data, and then they rendezvous at another point with the ship again, and they have their data. Huh. You know what I mean? So like these UFOs that we may or may not be seeing are potentially not even piloted. So
that was my next question, is because how you said how we are discovering other planets right now, as if we believe that the crafts were.
Yeah, I mean we're sending probes to other planets. Why would somebody just fly into our solar system and be like, "Yo, there's violent shaved apes on this planet with nuclear bombs. Let's just open the door and see what's going on over here."
Also, they consume like hundreds of species of other animals.
Just eat everything.
My God,
fucking wild there. So the research paper titled "Physical Constraints on an Unidentified Aerial Phenomena" comes following a month of intense scrutiny on unidentified flying objects, a stirring trend ignited when a Chinese spy balloon captivated the nation by drifting across U.S. airspace. 3 additional unidentified objects were subsequently found. So once people kind of started looking up, they were like, holy shit, there's all kinds of stuff going on up here. On February 16th...
It's not just the one thing.
On February 16th, Senator Marco Rubio and Kristen Gillibrand and 12 other senators sent a letter to Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks and Deputy Director of National Intelligence Stacey Dixon, calling for a full funding of the AARO. The Biden administration's previous funding request for fiscal year 2023 failed to fund anything beyond the office's basic operating expenses, the lawmakers argued. So he's like, yeah, they'll get paper clips and staples and toner, and that's it. And they're like, no. We look at the shit that's going on above your head. We need to be looking at this. The AARO provides the opportunity to integrate and resolve the threats and hazards to the U.S. while also offering increased transparency to the American people and reducing the stigma. The lawmakers' letter stated, AARO's success will depend on robust funding for its activities and cooperation between the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. So, all that, fucking blow me with all that. But, because I don't want the intelligence community to know shit.
Yeah.
Because, fuck them. That consists of the CIA, the NSA, all those guys. Fuck them all.
Those are upstanding parts of our country, Greg.
Sure, dude, if you like supporting war criminals. But with the UFOs,
but they build rockets.
Yeah, but not for cool science purposes.
Okay.
For killing poor people purposes.
Oh, okay.
That's their whole jam. But anyway, they they kill poor people to make themselves rich. It's the way it works.
Yes. It's some weird twisted Robin Hood.
Tale as old as time. One of the things that I heard potentially about this, though, is that it's not just any ship. Is that it's potentially the Anunnaki coming back, which is fucking cool if that's true. Big if true.
Remind me why that would be so big.
So the Anunnaki are the ones who allegedly started civilization here on Earth. There's the Anunnaki and the Sumerians and all these early civilizations, and basically the Anunnaki were like, oh, we're going to make you people, and we're going to teach you to read enough to do things for us. We're going to teach you to count enough to do things for us. We're going to teach you to speak enough to understand when we're talking to you. That's it. We're not going to teach you how to use all the cool shit that you know how to do. It's like trying to play Xbox with a fucking joystick with a button on top. Mm-hmm. They can use telepathy to communicate. They can... they know.
So they were like, "You're our pets."
Right, essentially, yeah. And that's kind of how humanity got rolling.
It's fair. You got to get a start somewhere.
And then
some people got to do unpaid internships,
lost civilizations and stuff like that. Like Atlantis and Sumeria and just some of the lost civilizations come from the Anunnaki story.
Okay.
And Lemuria, that's the other one, Lemuria. Last podcast did a cool story about that.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're saying somebody's saying that it's the Anunnaki gods coming back to check progress and be like, hey, so it's been
capitalism, huh?
it's been 100,000 years. What'd you guys do? This is it, huh?
You still killing each other for killing each other?
Yeah, are you guys still like just violent for no reason? Are you still? Oh, you guys invented money, huh?
Ooh, this atmosphere is a lot thinner than we remember.
A lot of greenhouse gases in here. What do you suppose that rocket does?
No, but I'm sure you're doing fine.
Yeah, you guys are great. Just go ahead and scrub the project. But I mean, that's a fear for some people, is that that'll happen. Is that they see that we haven't advanced and they're like, fuck them.
Well, that's kind of what's the theory, that we haven't met alien races yet, and one of them is because that they've seen us and we're like, nah.
Yeah.
And hard no.
Mm-hmm. They've seen what we have.
Map the solar system, put it on the list of no intelligent life.
Well, there's also that's the Dyson sphere, where there's a force field around our solar system, basically keeping us in. We'll never get beyond the edge of it because we're dangerous. Or there's also the flip side, that nothing will get to us because everything else is dangerous and somebody's looking out for us.
God?
Maybe. Or aliens.
Whoa, aliens.
But see, that's the whole Anunnaki thing, alien gods. Like, they came from off planet, they seeded life here, and
You know what I say? Fuck it, bring them back. Maybe they'll think some of us are cool. You're cool. Fuck you.
Jeff Bezos is just like,
Oh.
Listen,
Should have let Shatner talk, man.
I've got more money than everybody else here combined.
Money is just a construct, same as time.
Yeah.
Plus, you have no hair. That's bad for us.
We're the only ones allowed to not have hair. Anyway, yeah, I just thought that's like a fun.
That is very. I'm kind of looking at some other stuff about it because I was like, man, what the fuck? I gotta.
But like, I think it's weird with all like the train crashes that we saw and the UFOs that we were allegedly shooting down around the time of the Chinese spy balloon and everything.
Is it just me or like all of those crashes in Ohio?
Well, so check this out. Here's my theory on that whole thing, because I've been
memes have just like predicted what's going to start happening.
I've been pretty quiet about a lot of it through most of it. But I think my theory that I would like to posit is
I believe that's why we are all here.
the UFOs, or some of what we shot down, were UFOs, or maybe drones.
When?
Like in addition to, because there was a couple of UFOs shot down around the time of the Chinese spy balloon.
Okay.
There was one over Alaska. There was another one. There was another one over like the Midwest, or potentially further east.
Okay.
But there was a couple that were shot down, and then the train crashes started happening. My thinking is that maybe a pilot was recovered from these UFOs and being transported on the trains. It was marked as hazardous waste, even though it wasn't hazardous waste. That's why they were allowed to carry it. It was marked as hazardous waste to keep people from like checking it out and getting in there and stuff. Yeah. And it was carrying the pilots of these crafts. Then this mothership, or whatever other crafts are out there, came on a search and rescue mission, recovered their pilot, and crashed that. It spilled everywhere. They're like, or it didn't spill because there's nothing to spill, and they're like, fuck, we gotta have something spill. So they spilled something. Or maybe whatever they spilled was used to clean up or sanitize the scene, and after alien life was there, it's poisonous to us, so we have to kill it, and the only thing that kills it is this super corrosive chemical. But
whoa,
after the Roswell crash, a lot of the wreckage was taken to Wright-Patterson Field in Dayton, Ohio. And it turned it into a UFO hotspot. So,
because they're like, we want our shit back, bro.
UFO parts or pilots moving towards Wright-Patterson, crashing trains in Ohio and stuff. I have looked into this absolutely zero. This is just like,
hey, buddy, that's a theory. Can be that.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is that the train derailments weren't actually they were search and rescue missions for pilots and parts from the UFOs that were shot down recently.
Spills are false flags.
The spills are cleanup attempts to cover up the whatever was being transported. or the remnants of it.
Wild.
Or maybe that's what it takes to keep those life forms alive.
It's just some caustic
Yeah,
goo.
like gnarly shit to like.
Must be pretty important things to keep alive.
I mean,
Yeah, alien life forms and such.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You ain't wrong. Wild, man. I
Yeah.
know I've said it a few times, but I don't even really know what else to say. That's
I mean, it's
it's just like you say. It's like normally
you keep
it's
talking, and I'm on my fourth. Damn, that's crazy.
like it's like normally when you bring not you like you hear a story like that. It's like I totally read it on conspiracies from Tom.com. You didn't see that.
And it was on that. It's on that website with the black background and the bright green.
When
font.
you're like, oh, I actually read this on MSN's website, and it's by a Harvard guy.
Yeah, this is
and,
from militarytimes.com.
yeah.
Like
So it's definitely
Zimone Perez.
an interesting and scary thought for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's something to think about because there has been a lot of
Is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back?
there's been a lot of talk about disclosure lately in the last few years with Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy, which I fucking dislike that whole thing. If you
I don't
wanna-
know enough about it, but I knew that you disliked it.
Yeah, I don't trust it. If you want to know why, message me. I'm not going to go into it here. But
Fair. I like that.
I
Way to drive engagement, bro.
I dislike the To the Stars Academy and their whole premise, but they have been leaking a lot of stuff, the gimbal footage, the Tic Tac, all that stuff. They've been vocal about stuff that we've been seeing, but there has been an uptick in UFO videos that I've been seeing. Whether they're faked or not, I can't say. I'm not good. Like I'm not a guy who knows that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you I have seen an uptick in UFO videos.
Okay.
So
That link you sent me, does it get updated, or is that a finite list of videos?
don't know. There's so many on there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like hundreds. And
I still got it.
It's a fun. I mean, I have most of them. I took like a day and went through and saved most of them to a hard drive.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you.
Thanks. Good to have a physical copy.
All right, well, let's wrap this thing up, man.
All right.
You guys check out everything on serialchillerspod.com. Thank you to everybody who's given to the show. Well, really quickly, we'll talk about some of the changes that are happening in our lives. Is like Greg and I are once again going to be separating. It'll be I that moves.
It's not
to a
because
bunker this
it's
time.
not because you guys. We still love you very much.
This isn't your fault. We don't want you to think that. No, I'm moving to the East Coast at some point in the early summer. So,
And I know that West Coast is best coast, so I'm not leaving.
I just know that East Coast is Beast Coast. I don't know.
West
I don't know. No, never mind. Yeah, so I'll be moving like 2,300 miles away from Greg. So things will be a little different. But I think that we're gonna figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, we've got ideas.
There'll be challenges, but there will be
There's going to be some more growing pangs.
yeah. But we have a pretty cool idea for a season finale for this season in the works, which I hope works out. I'm not even going to tease it here. Besides that, just in case it doesn't,
We've got thoughts. We're working on it.
whatever you're seeing for the season finale is totally what I was talking about right now.
We're planning it.
But yeah, we definitely have some ideas that I think would be really fun and really cool.
And if you
So
don't believe us, you can stuff it.
you might have to stuff it. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys got the contact. It's serialchillerspod.com. Greg and I are realists. So we know that the numbers on this one will be a little lower. So if you made it this far, we appreciate it a lot.
Hope you had fun. We're
You're-
just shooting the shit.
Yeah,
This is what it's like when we hang out.
Exactly. You're probably one of the regulars, so you know all this stuff. But if you need any of it, serialchillerspod.com. Give it to the Patreon if you can. Little donations there. Thank you to everybody who does that. Anything to add, buddy?
Lonelyfanswith2z's.com.
Check it out. It's a real thing. I mean, I know I say it every time.
Yeah.
I mean, he says it every time, but I say that it's a real thing every time. But thank you guys.
Think about where you want to be when the UFOs get here.
Is this where you want to be when the Anunnakis come back?
Yeah, man.
Yes. All right. Well, then, for Hella Greg, I'm Cromwell and Jesse. Remember, don't talk to strangers.